Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, travel. And I'm joined by my good friend David, who recently came back from a trip abroad. Hi, David.
Hi, Emma. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to share some of my travel experiences today.
Let's start with the basics. What does travel mean, David?
Good question. Travel means going from one place to another, usually over a long distance, for fun, work, or other reasons. For example, I traveled to Italy last month for a vacation.
That's a great example. So, where did you go in Italy?
I visited 3 cities, Rome, Florence, and Venice. Each city was so different and had its own charm.
Wow, those are some amazing destinations. A destination for everyone listening is the place you are traveling to. It's where your trip is going to take you. And David, what was your favorite part of the trip?
Oh, that's hard to choose. But I think my favorite part was visiting the Colosseum in Rome. It's such an incredible piece of history.
I can imagine. The Colosseum is one of the most famous landmarks in the world. A landmark is a building or place that is easily recognized and often visited by tourists.
Exactly. And speaking of tourists, the area around the Colosseum was filled with them. A tourist is someone who is traveling to a place for pleasure, especially to see famous sights.
Right. And when you were there, did you join any tours?
Yes, I took a guided tour of the Colosseum, which means a professional guide showed us around and explained the history.
That's a great way to learn more about a place. For those listening, a guided tour is a tour where someone explains the important facts and stories about a place, while a self-guided tour is when you explore on your own without a guide.
Yes, I love guided tours. They really make the experience better.
So, let's talk about how you prepared for your trip. Did you need a passport?
Yes, definitely. A passport is an official document issued by your country that proves your identity and citizenship. You need it to enter and leave most countries.
Right. It's very important when traveling internationally. And did you need a visa for Italy?
No, since I'm from a country that allows visa-free travel to Italy, I didn't need one. But a visa is a special document that gives you permission to enter a country for a specific period of time.
Good point. Always check the visa requirements before you travel. So once you arrived in Italy, where did you stay?
I stayed in different hotels in each city. A hotel is a place where you pay to stay when you're traveling. They provide rooms, and often other services like breakfast.
Nice. Did you book the hotels in advance?
Yes, I booked them online before my trip. To book something means to arrange for it in advance, like reserving a hotel room or a flight.
That's good advice for our listeners. Always book your accommodation early, especially during busy travel seasons. And how did you get around the cities?
I mostly used public transportation like buses and trains. Public transportation is a system of buses, trains, and other vehicles that the public can use to get around a city or country.
That's convenient. Public transportation is often cheaper and more environmentally friendly than taking taxis or renting cars.
Exactly. I also walked a lot, which is a great way to explore and find hidden spots.
Walking is a great way to really experience a city. And speaking of exploring, did you try any new food while you were there?
Oh yes, the food in Italy was amazing. I tried pasta and gelato almost every day. Pasta is a traditional Italian dish made from wheat like spaghetti or lasagna, and gelato is Italian ice cream. It's creamier and richer than regular ice cream.
Yum! That sounds delicious. So, David, do you have any tips for our listeners who might be planning their own trips?
Sure. My biggest tip is to always pack light. To pack means to put your things into a suitcase or bag before you travel. You don't want to carry too many heavy bags while traveling.
That's great advice. Packing light makes everything easier. And what about planning? Did you create an itinerary?
Yes, an itinerary is a plan or schedule of what you're going to do during your trip. It's helpful to plan out your days so you don't miss anything important.
Absolutely. An itinerary helps keep you organized. Well, it sounds like you had an amazing trip, David. Thanks so much for sharing your experiences and tips with us.
Thanks for having me, Emma. I hope it helps your listeners with their future travels.
I'm sure it will. And for all of you listening, I hope you learned some new travel vocabulary today. Don't forget to practice these words and use them in your next conversation.
Happy travels, everyone!